Mark Roth, the most dominant bowler of the late 70s, a man who used the power game to revolutionize the sport. 34 career titles, many of those won using the standard equipment of the day, the plastic ball. Today, two PBA veterans, Jason Couch and Hall of Famer Parker Bohn III, plus two rising stars, Ryan Ciminelli and Tom Smallwood, compete in the finals of an event honoring the Hall of Famer and the equipment he used so well, the Mark Roth Plastic Ball Championship. How will today's modern players fare using the ball of yesteryear? Find out with us. Another big crowd in Buffalo today as one of the great American bowling cities hopes to see one of their own, Ryan Ciminelli, take today's title. But the 24-year-old will have to do it old school style as we welcome you to the third edition of the Mark Roth Plastic Ball Championship. Glad you're with us this Sunday afternoon. Rob Stone and PBA Hall of Famer Randy Peterson here with you. But first things first, it's not about urethane, it's not about reactive resin, it's about this. Plastic. Every single bowler this week and today bowled with a similar retro plastic ball, kind of like the one Mark Roth used to dominate with.
Yeah, you're right, Rob. It really leveled the playing field in terms of equipment. Each player started this tournament able to drill two of these plastic cover stock bowling balls with pancake-shaped weight blocks. This is typically the ball you see our players use to shoot spares with on a weekly basis. Don't expect to see that big back-end reaction that you're used to seeing with reactive resin. It's not going to be there. And the players had to make the adjustments accordingly.
Now, two of our four bowlers on today's show grew up throwing the plastic. You have Hall of Famer Parker Bohn III and your #1 seed, Jason Couch. The other two think plastic is to be used and then recycled. You have 4th seed Tom Smallwood and today's hometown favorite, Ryan Ciminelli, who, Randy, has been bowling in this facility since he was 13 years old.
Yeah, he's got some good karma in this building. Take a look at when he won his first title just a little over a month ago in California. He was a #1 seed in Dublin and put together a flawless performance en route to his first victory.
Ciminelli has massive amounts of revolution and speed in his game, somewhat similar to the massive power game that Mark Roth displayed through the 60s, the one-time most dominating bowler on the PBA Tour. This tournament named in his honor. And Mark Roth, a couple years ago, suffered a stroke, still has some paralysis on his left side. But if you're looking to be put in a good mood, enjoy this scene from just moments ago. Mark Roth throwing out the first ball. Little man still got it.
Still has that same push away, doesn't he?
Turned 60 in April. He is getting stronger by the day. He is bowling in therapy against his therapist and dominating his therapist. Great sight to witness today. And we now go back to today's competition and the intro for match #1.
The #4 qualifier owns one career PBA Tour title, the 2009 PBA World Championship. He finished second at the PBA Tournament of Champions, earning $100,000. From Saginaw, Michigan, Tom Smallwood.
Look at Mark and his wife Denise taking this in. Tom Smallwood. He's got some supporters here as well. Randy was telling us yesterday, some of his buddies from Michigan getting up at about 3, 4 in the morning, driving all the way over here. Not all of them had their passports, so they couldn't do the shortcut through Canada. They had to go looping around. Added a couple hours to the drive. His wife, mom, and daughter here as well.
And completely different ball reaction like I talked about in the open. You see that ball hooking early and then kind of straightening out as it goes down the lane. And that's typically what our players try to get their bowling balls to do. Read early and then a very subtle back-end reaction.
So Smallwood with the spare, and we make way for our second competitor in today's opening match.
The number 3 seed is a 32-time PBA Tour champion, including 1 major, former Player of the Year, and 4-time Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award winner from Jackson, New Jersey, PBA Hall of Famer Parker Bohn III.
Parker's wife, Leslie, some of his children made the drive up from New Jersey to see Dad in action. It has been a long time since we saw Parker on TV.
It's one of the best games in the history of professional bowling. Parker Bohn III, no surprise he's here throwing plastic balls because he's a shot maker.
He's had success in the past plastic ball tournaments. 2-time PBA Player of the Year. And matches Smallwood with a spare of his own. And we go back to our story about Mark Roth in attendance there with his wife. And here is Mark on one of his rehab activities. And yeah, it's kind of in his wheelhouse.
Trying to bowl for therapy. My therapist came up. Physical therapist is here. And we go out and bowl. I beat him one day. Shot 157 with a triple. And, you know, it's kind of tough to make spares. I don't have the speed right now. I'm taking 2 steps. Just swinging the ball and throwing it to get my legs stronger.
Parker with the strike there, and we go back to Mark Roth, and we saw his opening shot. We listened to that soundbite. He's still got the fire between the ears, doesn't he? He's ready to compete.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Mark was one of the greatest competitors our sport has ever known. I guarantee you, if he was physically able, he would have bowled this event.
Somebody of his generation that did bowl the event. You can see him just to your left of the screen. Johnny Petraglia had a wonderful week. He'll join us in a couple segments live. Finished 8th. Man. Smallwood has been right of target both times, or rather left of target both times. Take a look at his arsenal that he would have used had we not been bowling only with a plastic ball.
Wicked Siege or a loaded revolver, but obviously everybody having to use the same plastic ball, not just a plastic ball, but the same plastic ball. Players were able to drill 2 balls to start the tournament. As they advanced through match play and to the telecast, well, our 4 finalists today were allowed to drill a total of 4. You can put surface on it. You can drill it any way you want in terms of layouts, as long as it still falls within the USBC guidelines as being legal. But other than that,
that was the one big manipulation you could do with the ball, is the layout. And a lot of guys were having remembered some problems they had last year, and they said, I need a different layout this year, and Smallwood was one of those guys.
well, because of his unusual role, last year, every time he let go of it, the ball would clip the thumb hole. And because plastic balls don't flare as much as reactive resin balls, it would stay on the thumb. And so he really had to make a huge adjustment in terms of layouts to keep his bowling ball from rolling over the thumb hole and thumping all the way down the lane.
Yeah, he was saying there was like a soundtrack to him bowling. It was just boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. Nothing was smooth.
Thump, thump, thump. You know, the other interesting thing, you see Smallwood get through the nose 3 shots in a row, but because of the subtle bar reaction to the back part of the lane, he's shot 3 9 or single pin spares instead of the big designs, the big giant ugly splits from reactive resin balls cutting through the heart of the head pin so much more sharply.
Three lefties on today's show. Tom Smallwood, the great right hope today. And take another look at what it did to the rack.
And Rod, just to tell you how good these players are, with plastic balls this week for 32 games, Tom Smallwood averaged 225, Parker Bohn III averaged 228. And this is on a sport-compliant oil pattern, 2-to-1 ratio. So take a look at his arsenal, what he could have used if he had the choice. But, of course, he had to use the Mark Roth Plastic Special.
Struck earlier on the left lane, did Parker. Here he is again in the fourth. Likes the left lane better. Early results in.
And the other thing, Rob, is when talking about reactive resin bowling balls, 15 pounds and 16 pounds, if you ask the majority of the players out here, there really isn't a difference in terms of power, in terms of how hard the bowling ball hits the pins because of that sharp back-end reaction. Huge difference when you're throwing plastic. Parker Bohn III, the only player on today's telecast using 16 pounds.
That one found the pocket. First strike of the afternoon for Tom Smallwood. Head on over to PBA.com during today's telecast to submit your More of What Matters to You fan question, brought to you by the makers of One a Day. And the question will be directed to our tournament leader, Jason Couch. If your question is picked, you'll be recognized on air, and your question will be answered live. Head on over to PBA.com right now to submit your question to Jason Couch. Smallwood working off his first strike of this match as we open up the fifth.
Well, he's only trailing by 2 pins if he covers here. Looks like he has a pretty good idea of what to do on the right lane, but has yet to hit the pocket on the left lane. Look for Tom Smallwood to make an adjustment on that lane in the 7th. But again, the good news, only trailing by 2 if he converts here.
Four spares, one strike for Smallwood thus far. And here is Parker Bohn III in his 108th career TV singles appearance. Here's how he got here, 11-7 in match play, lost in the position round to Smallwood, but Parker Bohn was already pretty much locked into that third spot. He could go no higher nor no lower. Oh, yeah!
Hey, Parker Bohn, this is Randy. Hey, great break there. How do you capitalize here on the left lane?
You know what? I thought it was going to be high off my hand. I guess I was wrong. It was a strike. Just go out and make another great shot in this left lane and hope they all fall over.
Thanks, Parker.
Messenger had to do double duty over here.
Yeah, it was like
spinning, cutting, the assist, Tim Burr.
Little domino effect. Boy, you could tell he really wanted that, too. And that's the thing. You try to take advantage of a good break, especially when the match is tight. You want to really start putting some heat on your opponent. Parker really liked that shot. Just a pinch high, leaving the 6-pin.
It's really a pretty thing to watch. Parker Bohn's style is just so easy on the eyes. And Parker up by 11. The Animal Trophy Tour continues this week. Last week in Jersey, Norm G took home the U.S. Open Bald Eagle hardware this week. Appropriately enough, it's a Buffalo in Buffalo. Conclusion, match 1 when we return. Smallwood has really only found the pocket a few times here in match number 1, but it is a tight affair with Parker Bohn III.
Strike here, he cuts it to 1. He has yet to hit the pocket on this left lane.
Still with problems on the left lane.
Yeah, and this is a really tough spare.
Turn it into a double somehow.
When you're throwing reactive resin, you can get it to finish hard enough to cover the back pin, the 9-pin, but with plastic, Your margin for error on the 3-6-9-10 is nil. He's going to have to flush that 3-6 and have that plastic ball cover the 9-pin. That's a great spare, Rob. Great.
Smallwood remains clean with that spare pickup. Here is Parker Bohn III. Nobody has thrown more 300 games in competition than this guy. 85 perfect games.
Oh, whipping the rack with that plastic ball. Nice. Now Parker Bohn III, he was the higher seed, so he got choice of starting lane. He decided to have Tom Smallwood start this match so Parker could finish on the left lane. He thinks the left lane is the better of the two for him.
Now Bohn has 4 strikes, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. Here he is on the left to begin the 8th. Leaves the 7.
Just missed it. A hair at the bottom of the swing. Direction was great. Just needed to catch it a little bit more. Leaves a soft 7 right here. You see the 4-pin go to the sidewall and just kind of lay there. You know, we've seen it time and time again, Rob. When you have a chance to take your opponent out, you take him out. Don't let him hang around. And I guarantee you that's exactly what Parker Bohn III is thinking.
So the lead somehow still remains at 11 for Parker Bohn III as we take a look at other finishers this week, rolling through the top 16 and some interesting names and numbers this week here in Buffalo. Strike number 3 for Smallwood.
Look at that name right there, Johnny Petraglia. 64-year-old Johnny Petraglia finished 8th. I told you last week, he is a bad man still. Look at that guy. Johnny signed me to my first pro contract with Brunswick back some, gosh, I don't even know how many years ago, so long ago. And we've remained great friends throughout the years. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Johnny Petraglia.
And he'll be joining us in the booth coming up soon.
Can't wait. I'm giddy.
Big shot here in the 9th for Smallwood. Looking for his 4th strike. Looking for his first double.
Jesus.
No breaks thus far for Smallwood in match number 1.
Keep moving, keep looking.
Well, you heard it. He keeps making the logical adjustment, which is to move left and open up the lane a bit, but it hasn't been enough. Tom, what's going on with that left lane?
It might curve a little. It's a lot earlier, and I threw 2 in the press and washed out on him, so I know I can't miss right either.
Thanks, Tom.
So Smallwood will take a seat. He still has the 10th to bowl. He is down 11 to Parker Bohn III, who's set to close out the 9th right now. Whoa.
Are you kidding?
That's the first break for Tom Smallwood, and it comes from Parker Bohn, leaving this nasty spare effort.
Yeah, awful break for Parker. Goes through the nose right here. He really liked the shot. It hooked a bit early.
Got a better chance of making it if you hit him.
Yeah, and that's a mistake, losing count like that. Now Parker Bohn III needs to double in the 10th and get 6 to force Tom Smallwood to double.
Here's today's Just for Men mustache and beard keep your edge moment. Features Parker Bohn III. The last time he was in the winner's circle was right here at this facility, winning the Cheetah Championship, December 7th, 2008. It's all 10 to fall there to open up the 10th.
We've seen it the last couple of weeks out here. Double in the 10th frame, make your opponent show up. Last week, who can forget what happened when Norm Duke struck out in the 9th and 10th frame? Bill O'Neill, he was put to the test. Right now, Parker Bohn III, one more strike here and good count will force Tom Smallwood to double. Another seasoned veteran, Roth, stepping up and getting it done in the 10th frame.
He's closing the 10th like Norm Duke did last week at the U.S. Open in the championship match.
He wanted to finish on this left lane. He got to finish on this left lane. He made the most of it. Tom Smallwood needs a double, or Parker Bohn will advance.
So he's in the books with a 2:01.
Good news for Smallwood, his only strikes coming on this right lane. The last 3 in a row, all on the right lane. 2 strikes and 4 pins. What happened there?
I didn't see or hear anything from our vantage point, but Smallwood, maybe a little noise, enough to distract him. Again, needs a double here to move on. And he won't get it. And Parker Bohn III will advance.
Well, Tom Smallwood didn't look comfortable the entire game, and this is a pretty good shot. Drifts just a little bit high, chips the 4, but the 10 still stands up.
So the Parker Bohn III team has reason to stick around for another match.
But Rob, getting back to Tom Smallwood, you know, you get a sense talking with him that the only thing that he lacks out here is a little bit of confidence. Well, let me just say this. He's proven he's no one-hit wonder out here. Tom, if the only thing that's holding you back from winning a bunch of tournaments out here is confidence, take it from me and Rob. You're good, brother.
Yeah, I agree. He said that to us. He said, I've learned the difference between good and great is confidence, is attitude. He's a very unassuming guy, tremendous Midwestern appeal. He needs that killer instinct on lanes, and he can be something special. He can be something like Parker Bohn III has been through his career. Now, when we return, we're going to revisit and reflect on one of the biggest misses in PBA history, Mika Koivunemi's 10th frame, 10-pin U.S. Open air ball. Welcome you back to the AMF Thruway lanes here in Cheektowaga, New York, just outside of Buffalo for our continuing coverage of the Mark Roth Plastic Ball Championship. Joining us right now, a legend, a Hall of Famer, Johnny Petraglia, who this week proved age is just a number, my man. 64 years old, yet finished 8th in the tournament, just missing the show by 4 spots. You always seem to have success here at the Plastic Ball Championship.
Well, I love the plastic ball. It's like going back in time. The picture of the lane looks the same. There's just confidence in it. You're back in your own environment, so it does really lend to my kind of game.
Yeah, but John, what are you drinking at age 64 to be able to compete at this level? Come on, there's got to be a secret.
It's the love of the game, Randy. You know, traveling may get old, but bowling never does.
Such a hero of mine.
It's great fun. We were talking to some of the guys this week saying what a thrill it was to bowl next to you and with you and really in the same facility with you, particularly when you're tearing it up. Johnny will join us throughout our coverage of this match between Parker Bohn III and Ryan Ciminelli, our semifinal de facto match, if you will. #1 seed Jason Couch waiting in the wings. All lefty semifinal. Youth versus experience. Parker Bohn III will start us off on the left.
Parker had a little bit of early turn going in that first game, but I was watching him practice. I think he's worked it out.
The #2 qualifier has 2 PBA regional titles. He won his first Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour title at the one-a-day Earl Anthony Memorial Classic from Cheektowaga, the Ryan Express, Ryan Ciminelli.
Little hometown favorite here, Johnny?
Yeah. Well, I think Ryan is a rising star. I think the two really new young talents, him and Dan McClellan, I think they're both going to be terrific bowlers out here. I think the way that Ryan keeps that, if you watch that left shoulder, he gets it underneath him so tight that it always makes him follow through to the left. It eliminates a lot of pull, and he's a terrific bowler so far.
This is third top 15 finish of the season. A win today, he'd be the first to claim 2 titles in this season.
Well, I think he's got a lot of pressure on him in front of the hometown crowd, Rob. It's you know, it can get you going, but it can also create pressure. You know, his dad's sitting right behind him. Those are it's different in emotions. We'll have to see how he reacts as the day goes on.
That was one of the things we talked with him about yesterday. Is I need to come out and just bowl right off the bat. Forget about this crowd and get confident so I can use it as a motivation. He just destroys those racks.
Yes, he does.
Hey, John, I always said it was easier to handle the nerves when you're a younger man versus an older man. What's your take?
I think what happens is when you have a situation like I had this week where I had a chance for the show, it isn't like I got a chance next week, you know, and,
right.
and every week that goes by, you know, well, I'm not as good as I was a year ago and so forth. So I think in that sense, you feel like your numbers are limited. Yeah,
it's kind of out of his hand a little different. Getting back to what you mentioned, a little early turn, that ball just didn't look like it rotated correctly.
Yeah, I think he really overemphasized on the right lane because every shot that went high basically was on the right lane for him. So he was trying really hard to stay behind the ball.
Parker with the spare. There is a charitable component to this event, something you know very well, Johnny.
Well, this has been a terrific week for charity. You know, KR and On the Ball did wonders making these plastic balls for the charities. We have the Bowling Foundation, the Bowling Hall of Fame, the International Bowling, Junior Bowling, and the BVL, the Bowlers to Veterans Link, and all of the money raised from the bowling balls from them that we got this week is going to help all of these charities. So with Brad Handelman and Mike Stout and Tony Mendiola, they did a wonderful job, and everybody in the game benefits.
On the Ball came out here with some 200 bowling balls that our players had to drill up, and only 2 per player to start the tournament with, Johnny. It's like old school, huh?
Well, that's a tremendously big difference, Randy. Just before we went out after the first block, the number was 77 over, and Mike Rose had asked me what it's going to take. I said, double it and minus 10. And he says, how do you know that? I said, because nobody can go into the truck and drill a new ball. Right. And the lanes have been redone, so they're going to be the same. The scores will be about the same.
A lot of speed and a lot of power that young southpaw possesses, and I think he really made a name for himself last season at the World Championships and the Cheetah Championship against Norm Duke. He was throwing urethane and basically took Duke the distance. Norm ended up on top that day, but he really made a name for himself in that event. He knew it was just a matter of time before he won a tournament out here.
He won the one-a-day Earl Anthony Memorial in late January, defeating Patrick Allen. He was the #1 seed, so he was telling us yesterday, all right, I've got that first title. This title today, the hopeful title for him, is not really for him. It's not really for the family. It's for the city of Buffalo and all the people who have supported him throughout. And this city does rally around their sporting stars, particularly if you're a bowler.
I think he's handling the pressure just fine. This was a fairly tricky pair all week. In lane 50, the right lane tended to want to hook early, so you always tried to overcorrect, and you got that little flutter, and so it was tough to put doubles together. And we'll see how it happened in the first match. We'll see how it goes through this one.
Parker back on the strike train.
Beautiful style of Parker Bohn III, something that I think growing up wasn't his idol Dave Davis, Johnny?
Yes, it was.
So he tried to emulate?
He tried to emulate Dave Davis right from the gun, and he's done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
When you watch Dave bowl and you watch Parker bowl, and they're basically the same. Parker has more power.
Talk about idolizing bowlers. It was Parker Bohn III that was idolized by Ryan Ciminelli growing up, and talk more about that in our next segment. And boy, Ryan had a lot to say about the impact Parker and his wife Leslie have had on his career.
And I think I'm the only right-hander that idolized Johnny Petraglia growing up.
Ooh, skinny jeans.
You know, most people think that I idolized Marshall Holman or Mark Roth growing up. I idolized Johnny Petraglia growing up, so there you go.
Johnny, he says that to everybody who's in the booth with us.
I had a feeling.
It's not true.
Hey, I idolized Dick Weber. He was right-handed, you know, so.
There you go.
Ciminelli stepping up to close out the fifth, looking for his first double and his third strike of this semifinal.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, vicious ringing 7 there.
Was off the
That was really a great shot, because that to get that ball to skid flip like that on that right lane is tough, and he threw that one great.
See that bent elbow, that snapping of the elbow and the wrist at the bottom of the swing, and that's what creates revolutions, as you know. That's the modern game of today. But what's interesting is that Ryan Ciminelli's got enough maple moxie to be able to dial it in, whether he's throwing it straight with plastic or hooking reactive resin.
That's true, and remember that on a couple of shows he was also throwing regular urethane. Correct. To try and cut down his hook. So he's bowled with all three.
Keep making good shots.
Take a look now at the arsenal that Ryan would have been using if we were not using the Mark Roth plastic ball.
Burst 505A and the freeze. Instead, it's the Mark Roth plastic ball like everyone else.
Strike number 3 for the hometown favorite.
Parker Bohn had the choice of starting lane the last match. He chose to finish on the left lane. Ciminelli does the same thing. Ciminelli, big advantage going into the 10th.
When we return, we'll tell you about the impression and impact Parker Bohn III has had on Ryan Ciminelli's burgeoning career. This is the 2011 Mark Roth Plastic Ball Championship live on ESPN. Live look at Mark Roth, and he is the subject of this week's Winning Touch, brought to you by Touch of Gray. Gets rid of some gray, never all. Mark Roth, in his first career win back in 1975, qualified as the tournament leader for the 1975 King Louis Open in Overland Park, Kansas. He was just 23 years old at the time to win his first career title in grand style, striking on his first 11 shots in the final match versus Steve Jones at 4-pin. The only thing preventing him from a perfect game, he would settle for 299 in the first of his 34 career titles.
Rob, Mark Roth was so dominant from 77 to 79. You know, he bowled for the title 33 times in that era and averaged 215.8 for over 15,000 games. No, he didn't make 33 shows. He bowled for the title 33 times.
He was special. He was really special.
Still is. Strike number 3 for the Hall of Famer.
Yeah, this is critical now. Ryan's dialed in. Parker is starting to find his game. He's got to strike right now, though, or it can get out of hand.
Johnny, Parker Bohn III, one of the greatest ever, Hall of Famer. Does he still have it?
Oh, he still has it. There's been subtle changes in lane conditions that have made Parker have to adjust his game a little bit at the age of 47 or 48. And as you get up there a little bit, it's a little bit tougher. But he works so hard at it. And he has such a good mental attitude that he certainly has it.
Another strike. This match has been awfully similar outside of the open frame by Parker Bohn III in the third.
He just cuts the lead to 5 right here. Watch the 7-pin left on your screen. A little hesitant, gets a little love kick from the 4, goes down. Parker Bohn trails by 5, but Ciminelli working on a strike, getting up here in the 7th frame.
Ciminelli, the local product, bowling against the guy he grew up idolizing. Ciminelli, bottom to 7. And we talked to Ciminelli yesterday about the impact Parker Bohn III had in his career, and he said, man, back then, I would watch Parker. He used to hook it, throw it right at the gutter, it would come flying back. He looked like a righty in a lefty's body, and people always told Ryan that the physical game of the two, Parker and Ryan, looked awfully similar. The first time he ever met Parker Bohn III was at a New Jersey tournament hosted by Parker Bohn III when Ryan was about 16 or 17. He got to meet him. He said, man, I was way intimidated, way overwhelmed. Maybe just kind of went up there and gave him a limp handshake and said hello. But his first year out on the tour, he remembers a morning in Reno where Parker Bohn said, you know, youngster, come with me. We're going to go have breakfast in Reno. And they talked about the tour, they talked about career, and that was the moment Ryan said, wow, you know, not many people get to become friends with somebody they grew up idolizing. And that is the case for Ciminelli. He's the 7-pin. Jeez.
Now it's just a carry issue, John, and trying to dial that in. But I've got a question for you. As great as you bowled this week, explain the differences. Obviously, visually, we can see the difference in ball reaction. You know, reactive resin going down, snapping late. You never want reactive resin to hook early. It was exactly the opposite this week, wasn't it?
It's exactly the opposite. You want that ball to start making its move and then rolling toward the pocket with 20 feet to go. And if you would watch a lot of the other bowlers, you would see that's just what they were trying to do, that there wasn't anybody that was finishing up high, especially on the right, wasn't trying to loft it. They were trying to get the ball down early. Even Jason Belmonte was as much as he was hooking it, he was trying to get the ball down early and get the ball to move in time and have it set up on top of the pocket rather than come real late from behind the pocket.
And Jason Belmonte had a great week as well, I think, finishing 6th. Joe Ciccone from Buffalo just missing out. He finished 5th.
Got a new leader this game.
Hey, Ed, you were right. Apparently the kid still has it. Still got it. All right, maybe he's not a kid anymore, but he still has it.
6-pin game as we begin the foundation frame 9th. Another look at Parker's effort in the 8th.
You know, to me, John, you know what's amazing when watching Parker Bohn at age, what is he, 48? He hasn't lost an inch of knee bend. His follow-through looks exactly the same, and I think his waist size is the same as it was when he joined the tour some 25 years ago.
You know what is missing,
he eats
though?
like a horse.
You know what's missing, though, don't you?
What's that?
The mustache.
The upper lip. The stash is gone. Told the missus last summer, I think I'm going to get rid of it. Randy, you told me yesterday he's had it since he was 12. Another strike.
Wow.
For PB3.
This is no lie. My daughter asked him why he shaved off the mustache, and he told her it helped him aerodynamically getting to the foul line.
Well, he's taking the lead now. He can shoot 235 if he strikes out. The most Ryan Ciminelli can shoot right now, 219. Parker is in command of this match.
strike for Ciminelli, the first on that right lane.
Oh, great.
Well, it's kind of the same situation that we had in the last match. Ryan Ciminelli can strike out to force Parker to throw the first one.
And he hasn't really made a bad shot yet. A couple of solid 7s, a couple of solid 6s. I mean, he's just been dialed in. It's a question of can he do it in the 10th, and then it'll be up to Parker.
Just pin carry right now. Great shot there. Johnny, did you use 15 pounds or 16 pounds this week?
I use 15, Randy.
15?
Yeah, it computes. You know, that's 64. Sure. My wrist would have never held up with 16 because I had to hit it a lot harder to make the ball react. And I actually considered 14 because I knew I couldn't miss it at the bottom.
Ryan's dad, Angelo, just over his right shoulder in the blue and the black. Intently watching this one.
And that was the big shot there because that would have forced Parker Bohn to strike first ball in the 10th frame.
Yep, now he needs just a mark.
Any kind of mark for Parker, and he'll move on to face his old roommate and best friend, Jason Couch.
Yeah, who is going to be extremely tough and who's worked harder than him on changing his game, trying to get the ball more direct. It's been great.
Still got a mark.
Yeah. Just one quick extension on when we were talking about that leaderboard. Watching Ronnie Russell this week was something. He was getting it down really early, and he was hooking it as if it was reactive resin. It was really amazing to watch, and he just missed the show, too.
Right. Ronnie Russell's a freak of nature. That
Yes,
he can do some serious things with his wrist at the bottom of the swing.
And we'll be in Ronnie's hometown of Indianapolis for our next 4 shows. And yeah, you bring up a good point, Johnny. We've seen Ronnie high up on the leaderboard the last couple weeks, and it's been a long time for him to make a TV show, and you get the sense he's on the verge of breaking through finally.
I agree. Oh, my God.
Well, we saw it last week. Parker Bohn has to cover the 7-pin, just like Mika had to make the 10-pin, except this isn't for the title. This is to move on to the title match.
Got it. And he moves on.
Does he need any count?
Parker, how tough was that 7-pin to make?
To tell you the truth, the 7-pin ball feels a lot better than the strike ball right now. But to be honest with you, this one will be down the middle. We'll worry about that later. That's close enough.
A little reconnaissance shot there by the Hall of Famer. So Parker Bohn III moves on to take on his former roommate, Jason Couch. Johnny, thanks for your time. Always a pleasure to have you in the booth. And again, congrats on a great week. And we want to remind you that game used balls from this event are available for purchase. You can also design your own ball or pin over on PBA.com. Let's bring in the sales so we can help those charities, right, Johnny?
Well, Rob, that's exactly right. Thank you for the charity, and thanks again, guys. I love being here.
Thanks, Johnny. You're always a dear friend. It's an honor to know you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we'll hear live from our #1 seed, Jason Couch, and get his thoughts on using plastic and taking on Parker Bohn III. Our title match just minutes away. We welcome you back to our continuing coverage of the Mark Roth Plastic Ball Championship, and our thanks to that young lady, Darlene Baker, president of the USBC. Appreciate everything she and her staff does to continue to promote this wonderful sport across our lands. Time now for the Geico Championship recap. Randall.
You got it, Robert. Match number 1, Parker Bohn III taking on Tom Smallwood. Parker was trailing, gets up the 10th frame, throws a double, forces Smallwood to double, but a pesky 10-pin stands in the way, and that's all she wrote for Tom Smallwood. Then in match number 2, Parker Bohn III taking on Ryan Ciminelli, the local favorite. Ciminelli had pin carry problems throughout the match. Parker needs to convert the 7-pin to advance. He does. And now he will face good friend, ex-tour roommate, Jason Couch in the championship match.
And that is what they are fighting for here in Buffalo. Time now for today's More of What Matters to You fan question, brought to you by the makers of One A Day, and it is for that man, our #1 seed, Jason Couch. Jason, this comes away from John Wilson of Canton, Illinois. After using urethane resonant particle balls, what is the biggest adjustment you have to make when using a plastic ball?
Well, that's a pretty good question, Rob. First thing you have to consider is that you're throwing the hardest cover stock made in bowling today with a plastic ball. Plastic balls, you have to actually get the ball started in the first 15 feet of the lane. Total flip side with the reactive balls. They're going to hook down lane. You just got to get it through the front of the lane clean and let it react down lane.
All right, Jason, thank you for that answer.
Just like Johnny said.
#1 seed and future Hall of Famer Jason Couch hasn't won on TV in more than 4 years. He gets a chance to end that drought next. Our title match, commercial free on the backside. We jump in our flashback machine all the way back to 1987, the Greater Buffalo Open, held right here at the Thruway lanes, and it was the next to last career win for Mark Roth, who qualifies the #3 seed for the finals. Here's a 299 game. And then we take on Parker Bohn III in the semis, defeat PB3 by 3, 227, 224. Title match, 259, 215 victory over Chris Warren for his 33rd career victory.
Never forget this one this evening, and I'll guarantee you.
30th time Buffalo has hosted a PBA event. This is the Mark Roth Plastic Ball Championship. 3rd straight year we have held it in honor of that man on the left, Mark Roth, who suffered a stroke a few years ago and is bravely fighting back and has advanced far beyond what most predicted.
Rob, you know, Mark Roth's confidence factor was so over-the-top insane back in the day that after practice he would call his wife and tell her whether or not to book a flight for the TV show after the practice session. Every time she booked a flight, he made it every time. This guy knew his game, didn't he?
That's a little bit of confidence.
Right?
PB3 starts off our title match with a strike.
Now,
the tournament leader owns 15 titles with 4 majors on the Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour. Former PBA Rookie of the Year. Only man to win 3 consecutive PBA Tournament of Champions titles. From Claremont, Florida, Jason Couch.
As I almost rudely interrupted Mike J., Johnny Petraglia had an interesting prediction for this match. He said, Jason Couch wins. I think he's going to shoot 240. I don't think Parker can shoot 240. Jason Couch's arsenal, if he had his way, maybe a Mission 250K, but not this week, just plastic. Jason would also like to send well wishes out to Don Mitchell in Indianapolis, where we'll be next week. He was the former PBA Tour host there at Woodland. He suffered a heart attack recently, so best wishes go out to Don and his family.
Couch has lost his last 4 matches on television, off to a great start here in our title match.
Jason Couch owned this tournament through qualifying and match play. He was your #1 seed coming in. He averaged over 234 for the week, qualifying and match play combined. And the players that we interviewed all said the same thing. Nobody had what Jason Couch had this week.
Parker matches him with a pair of his own.
And again, Rob, I think you really have to put it into perspective. For those of you watching at home, using high-powered bowling balls on an easy house shot or league pattern, league oil pattern, try using plastic on a real short pattern and see if you can average 230 for 32 games. Just shows you the skill level that's out here on this tour.
Parker has had success versus Couch in TV appearances, 7-2. Those 2 wins for Couch came in title matches.
On the good lane, the left lane, and Couch, the higher seed, chose to finish the match on that left lane. That's been the pattern for the left-handers today. Parker not able to take advantage of a double, goes right through the nose, but only leaving the 4-7. The nice part about this tournament, Rob, when you shoot a spare, you don't have to change balls.
Speed things up. Jason Couch, 15 Lumber Liquidator PBA Tour titles, including 4 majors. The only man to win back-to-back-to-back TOCs. He is a future PBA Hall of Famer.
He'll go in next year, and the trilogy of Claremont, Florida will be complete.
Duke, Peterson, Couch.
Be as good as you look. All right.
Rob, early on, I think you really have to be impressed with the 3 shots that Couch has thrown out of the gate. Remember, Parker has 2 games under his belt. He's comfortable. Couch hasn't been here in a while, bowling for the title. 3 perfect shots, 2 strikes, and now looking at a 7-pin.
There's Mary Chase, general manager here at AMF Thruway Lanes. Her and her crew always do a wonderful job putting on a great show here in Buffalo.
Re-rack.
As Jason Couch takes a re-rack, both players grew up throwing plastic bowling balls. It's not like this is the first time they've been around this.
While we have this break, we'll fire up the RV. Tell you where we'll be next, Sunday, March 27th, 2:30 Eastern from Indy. Day 1 coverage of the Dick Weber PBA playoffs. It continues all the way into mid-April. We'll be live April 17th for the final round coverage, 1 Eastern, right here on ESPN.
Push.
Big break.
Huge. So you saw Parker, he went through the nose on that left lane. Couch goes through the nose. Left lane starting to break down. Players will now make an adjustment, but both players avoiding a huge open frame. Look at that. He almost left the big 4. Now it's just the 6-pin.
You didn't want a piece of tape in your ball, did you?
All the balls look the same. It's kind of hard to differentiate the 2.
Couch is going strike, strike, spare, spare.
Jason, what's happening on that left lane?
That wasn't a very good one, Randy. Kind of elbowed that one, lost it off my hand.
Thank you.
Parker steps up on the right lane, which he struck on in the 2nd. A quizzical look from Parker there.
Good news, no split. Bad news, he could have tied the match with a strike there. Now a spare, he will only trail by 2.
A win would give Parker 33 career titles. Right now, he's 2 wins shy of tying Norm Duke and Mark Roth for 4th most in PBA history.
To do. Just get up and get it done.
This guy's been really good in title matches. You see that average there, just over 226.
Oh, that one ain't gonna.
3-5-6.
Now you wonder, is it the pressure of the title match? Parker hasn't been here in a few years. Is it the lanes changing? Remember, they are throwing plastic, so if the lanes are starting to break down, you wouldn't think it would be a lot of breakdown because of the equipment they're using.
Both these guys have great experience on television, but they admitted yesterday that
3.
open frame for Parker. They admitted that the lights have gotten to them as of lately. And an open frame for Parker in the 5th.
And right now you can see Jason Couch just kind of stick his chest out and puff up a little bit because he just got a huge opening. And well, that's like your opponent taking about 50 or 60 pounds of weight off your shoulders. It really loosens up the swing. Let's see if Jason can take advantage of the open frame.
One good one.
Well, if he doesn't
7-10.
Yeah, if he doesn't convert here, he gives it right back to Parker Bohn in terms of the break department, but right through the nose, leaving the 4-7-10. Question in his mind right now, do I try to make this or do I just go for count? If he goes for count and gets 9, he'll lead by 2.
Oh, he got it! Let's take a look at the Bear Trusted Pain Relief Replay brought to you by the makers of Bear Aspirin. I'll give you one guess on what shot we're about to show you.
Well, this isn't the traditional way of making it. Normally you slide it over, but Jason Couch uses speed and power, and he bounces the 4-pin out of the back pit. It covers the 10, and Jason Couch is like, whew, how about some relief?
Remember that moment.
They already re-racked?
Jason's wife in attendance, Kim, flew up yesterday. Momentum in the Couch camp.
Come on!
Parker going to the tape, making sure that
Tape, Schroeds.
there is no question about the feel of this next shot.
He's icing me.
The luckiest guy in the planet at this present moment, not icing him.
Again, those two former roommates on the tour, great friends going back a long time.
Same thing.
Greek Church open for business.
Everything looks pretty good with the exception of the bowling ball right in front of the head pin.
Right about now, all you need is a little bit of that couch luck, and they should all bounce out. Probably knock over the pins on the lane next to it.
Even at the first sign of adversity, Parker Bohn III showing you what a class act he is. Unfortunately for him now, he's dug himself a huge hole. With only 4 frames remaining, he now trails by 25. Again, going to some more tape. The worst thing in the world is to lose the feel of the thumb hole in the championship match.
Parker with just 2 strikes in this title match, Randy, both of them coming in the first 2 frames.
3.569 bucket.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
He's lost his reaction and lost his feel. And when you're throwing plastic, there's not a whole lot of reaction there anyway. So when you start to lose your feel, the ball reaction is going to be very suspect and not a very big margin for error. Parker had some great comments about the great Mark Roth. They're really good friends. Parker grew up 20 minutes from Mark, and Parker said, and I quote, "The reason why people hook the bowling ball today is because of Mark Roth."
One good shot. Come on.
Second double of the title match for Couch.
Jason Couch steps up on the right lane and does his Chauncey Billups imitation. Mr. Big Shot gets up there and just absolutely shreds the rack for a double and increases the lead to 35.
Come on, Dave. One good shot. Behind the knee, not on top of that. Behind the knee.
I hear him saying behind the knee. Had some knee issues in the past. Does not want to be over the knee. Needs to be behind the knee.
Jason, you got a huge lead now. How do you bring this title home?
Keep working, Randy. It's never over till it's over, buddy. Keep working.
Couch hasn't won since late January in 07. 0 for 4 on the TV since that title. He's in good shape here. Parker Bohn third, close out the 8th, down 45. This one has slipped away.
My feel went bye-bye.
Parker, I know it's a field game. You're a field player. What has happened to the feel in your bowling ball, and what's with all the tape?
Randy, I just can't get it taped properly right now. I don't know if I got oil on my hand. I don't think so. But I'm fiddling with the tape. I can't keep the tape on the back of my thumb proper. So needless to say, it's been pretty much a catastrophe the last 4 shots, maybe 5. So, hey, you know what? There's always a good one somewhere.
Parker admitted to us yesterday he's done a lot of fiddling lately, including in matches. Something we're not used to from the Hall of Famer. There's adjustments and then there's fiddling, just trying to find anything.
Yeah, he had struggled the last couple of seasons with ball reaction, and then he tried to make adjustments with his game, trying to slow down a little bit, trying to get the ball to curve more. Then he started messing around with thumb pitches and changing the angle of the thumb and just trying anything and everything to get back
Good shot.
to the top of the heap, and it's been a struggle for him. And sometimes along the way you lose who you are.
Push, push.
10 pin shy of a 4-bagger.
Behind the knee, not on top of it.
Jason Couch with a mark here in the 9th frame, and any good count in the 10th, he's going to be in the 200s. The best Parker Bohn can shoot 196. A mark here for Couch. Good count in the 9th. He's going to win his 16th title and make it 2 weeks in a row for Claremont, Florida. Last week, Norm Duke. This week, possibly that man right there.
Up 48. closing this one out in the 10th.
Got a hook.
And that's all she wrote.
Settle down, old man.
Oh, boy.
Another title for the Couch family to celebrate.
If I get out of my own way, I can make that one.
And it's done. And the Buffalo goes to Couch.
Woo! Back in the winner's circle! Thank you, Buffalo! Cheektowaga! Thank you.
His first title since January 28th of 2007.
Where's my ball rep? Where is my ball rep? Yeah, you can. Ladies and gentlemen, Del Ballard.
Hall of Famer Del Ballard Jr. coming by for a handshake and hug with our winner, Jason Couch. Randy Peterson sliding into position for an interview with our winner.
Congratulations. Yeah, I know it's been almost 4 long years for you. Can you describe how this win feels to you?
This is a special win, and I'm trying to hold the tears back. It's been a long time. Not many people know Del's been battling cancer, and this one's for him. I love him. Thank you, Del.
Congratulations, Jay.
As Del watches from the sideline.
Only time I'll kiss a Buffalo.
The Mark Roth Plastic Ball Championship goes to Jason Couch. In dominating fashion over his former roommate. We'll be back to wrap it up from Buffalo after this. Welcome you back to Cheektowaga, and Jason Couch, Randy, with a dominating performance here in our title match.
Well, he really dominated this whole event, and it was Jason Couch's tournament to lose, and he bowled magnificently, took advantage of all of the open frames by Parker Bohn III, applied pressure and stayed on him.
His first win since late January of '07. You'll see us next from Indy, March 27th, to go RVing Dick Weber PBA playoffs. Couch, your #1 seed. It had been a while since he could celebrate some hardware, but he gets tour title number 16 today in Buffalo, taking down his longtime roommate, Parker Bohn III. For Randy Peterson and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Rob Stone. Well, football coming up next. Congratulations to Jason Couch.